Alright, everybody, welcome to another week of Game Wisdom Live. We are actually live here on YouTube for the first time in quite a while. This is going to be for the week of June 15th, 2017. And still getting used to these settings around here, trying to see how things go. So again, for those of you watching this, whether live or recorded, let me know how things are doing in terms of the chat, the feed, stream, anything like that. So, before we get going with some news of the week, my phone is deciding to ring the second I start streaming, which is quite perfect, I think, for a lot of the stuff. But I got some good news and some good, and I guess some bad news to talk about. Oh, really? You have to do account linking, Unfortunately, I decided to move away from Twitch. Hopefully, I can actually make sure that that's actually showing up. Yeah, that looks good. I'm trying to get the picture and everything in there, so I'm trying to adjust things accordingly. Let's see. I think that should be good. I'm trying to make sure that everyone can see. I may have to adjust the size slightly there. Hi, Ogor. Hi, Thorn. So, let's get with the good news. I heard back from my library contact, and I have some bookings coming up. Not one or two, but 5. I have 3 in September and 2 in October that I'm really excited about. I'm going to have a chance to debut 2 new presentations that I'm working on. One regarding speedrunning. Now there's a bug flying around my head. This is like the perfect time to come back to YouTube, isn't it? First one will be for speed running, and then the second one is going to be regarding esports. So I've got those, and I actually spend the summer actually getting those together. I've also considered, or I put together, what I'm going to try and pitch for GDC 2018. For those of you who don't know, GDC, each year, basically, they open up registration or submissions in, I want to say I think it's late July, early August. And I'm going to try and pitch something regarding tutorial design this year. I'm hoping that the public speaking that I've been doing will be enough to kind of, push things forward, at least to get past the first round. Because I've never been able to get past at least the first round of presentations yet, so fingers are crossed on that one. Now, regarding the libraries, I'm definitely in a good position, but I still am trying to get into basically how it works around here in South Jersey. That there's 2 library systems. There's the Camden County Library and the Burlington County Library, and they each have about 6 to 7 libraries in them. So right now I have been dealing with the Camden County. I've been trying to get in with the Burlington County, because if I can do that, that could very well solve a lot of my financial woes with having 2 different systems of libraries. That'll be about 16 combined to do presentations with. But unfortunately, I have not been able to get in there yet. So I'm still trying, but it's not going to be looking good, at least until I can at least make some more connections. Now, it's time for the bad news. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like James is going to be coming back for future podcasts and doing stuff with Game Wisdom. He, for those of you who missed the announcement, throughout the month of June, he's been doing work at the Renaissance Fair here in New Jersey. And unfortunately, I haven't heard anything back from him, so I think he may be too busy to be working with me on Game Wisdom. So, with that said, though, it's not just going to be me talking for every one of these Game Wisdom Lives. I invited my friend and streamer, Robert Leach, who also runs the indie platform or indie publisher Indie Voyage, to kind of be my co-host going forward. So he is at E3 this week, which is why he couldn't make it, but he will be joining me for future streams over here in the coming weeks. And if we can get new guests, we can of course have them on as well. For those of you watching, we will still, if there is interest in doing like a shout out or anything who are Patreon subscribers, I can certainly pull back up Discord and we can do things along that front. Now, the other bit of news is I was thinking about more ways to get some more excitement going for the Patreon, and again, try to link everything together. So I think I have a little idea. This may be hokey, but I think it works for a lot of YouTubers. So what I'm thinking about is going forward, or starting in July, the $100 goal will be a variable goal, meaning each month I'll put a different thing together. Basically, since we're now doing more things on YouTube, it'll be for having a special stream. It could be probably sometime in mid of that month, and that way we can also open up for the voting, because if we can hit $100, that also means that we have a good number of people supporting the site and at the level where they can pledge and vote for these rewards. I figure this will be a great way to get more, I guess, buzz regarding the Patreon and let it kind of feed back in here with YouTube. Now, if you missed the announcement, let me see here. Also, for those of you watching, one second, I just want to make sure that you guys can actually see the comments there. Again, I spent about 5-10 minutes before doing this trying to adjust the window for getting because the YouTube and Twitch both have a different resolution or a different screen ratio for their text. So I've been trying to mess with it. I may make it a little bit wider for next time, but we'll see. Yeah, I have it in the left corner. I just want to make sure that it's wide enough, but we'll see what happens. But as I was saying, so going forward in July, what I'll be doing is setting up so that each goal will kind of be a random or a different thing. So maybe I still have to think of what will be the theme or the thing for next month, but it will be something like maybe like a group night playing a game, a special maybe 2-hour stream, and then of course anyone who watches that or anyone who misses it will be sent over here to YouTube or archived here. I was thinking, for those of you who missed the announcement about a week or so ago, I was talking with my friend Josh about more potential strategies and things to do. I've been trying to rack over my head some things to kind of help out. So if you missed the big announcement, I was saying that I was going to cut back on cross-posting content from Game Wisdom to a lot of other places. Again, for those of you who are new or don't follow things on the written side, I've been doing cross-posting on Destructoid, IGN. I even started Game Informer, Gamma Sutra, Now Loading, Medium, and probably a few more that I'm forgetting. And what I'm going to I originally said I was going to try and cut things down to no cross-posting, but I think my hubris is showing with this, because I was thinking about not making any original posts on Game Wisdom and using it as an archive site. But then I was just thinking that it does sound kind of weird when I reach out to developers and publishers saying that I run Game Wisdom, but it won't appear on Game Wisdom. It will appear somewhere else. And it just kind of feels weird to me. But I am still going to be cutting down on the number of cross-posting that I'm going to be doing. So I figure that we'll basically keep it to, right now, Game Wisdom, Medium, Now Loading, and Gamma Sutra. But I'm not going to be posting all the oracles there. I'm going to try and tailor things to each site. So Gamma Sutra will still be getting the very game design dense posts. Like I have one right now that I'm working on about how do you decide what to include in your tutorial. So that will certainly be something for Gamma Sutra. Medium will be kind of for reviews and some of the more lighthearted pieces, such as my Monolith review that I posted today. And then the Now Loading will be kind of like, I don't want to say fluff, but it'll be more of like the more buzz, I guess, pieces, such as what I wrote about my issues with Gwent at the moment. But they'll still be posted to Game Wisdom, and that way it'll hopefully cut down, make it easier for everything to be seen, and Google won't downvote or push it down on the search results. But I think with that said, I think that's all the news, at least from my end. So going forward, like I said, for next week, Robert should be joining me. And if you want to catch his stream, I'm going to hopefully remember to put it in the notes below. But of course, he will certainly be talking about when he comes on. So I guess with that, let's talk about some things that's been happening this week. And obviously, for those of you watching this right now, the big piece of news is E3 2017. If you missed my industry insight, there were quite a bit of games that I'm excited about. I was talking to Thorn earlier, and we're both like seriously debating getting a Nintendo Switch now. I'm interested in the Mario XCOM game. Thorn is looking at Mario Odyssey, but then again, I'm also looking at Mario Odyssey too because both look really amazing. I was also watching footage of Fire Emblem meets Dynasty Warriors, and I'm not sure if that one's going to particularly hook me. And of course, there's Zelda, ARMS, and Recyclable Yoshi, which I think everyone's going to have an interesting look at. At some point, I need to get that blue Yarn Yoshi for my Amiibo collection. But then there's also now like Pimp Bowser that's coming out in the whole top hat that I may just have to add to my collection for that one. Now, some very interesting news that came out today that I think will be an industry insight possibly for tomorrow is with Take-Two Interactive. And I'm kind of curious what you folks think about this one. It's been revealed that Take-Two or Rockstar has removed or has sent a cease and desist to a popular modding platform for Grand Theft Autos and the Max Payne games, and it's basically being taken down. And it has gotten a lot of people upset about this, especially considering that the actual thing has been around for, I think, several years now. Let me see if I can find it while I'm trying to talk here. Yeah, so it was, let's see, Open, I think that's Open 4 was the software. So they were issued a cease and desist from Take-Two, which is practically a death of a freeware or third-party platform. Now, Take-Two was arguing that it's activating or it's doing something with a security flaw, which is allowing people to bypass things in the game. But this is definitely a massive PR debacle for them. Someone was showing me on Twitter that their stock prices just went like that today because of that announcement. And the modding scene for Grand Theft Auto has always been a very popular aspect of it, especially for the PC side. Modders have added in additional songs. There was a mod a few years ago when someone added the DeLorean from Back to the Future. There was also the Rick and Morty mod that someone made, I think, a few months ago. And yeah, and that's true, Laura, that Rockstar never really cared about the PC side of things, so it was pretty much up to the modders to kind of run with it, and it has developed quite a healthy community from what I've seen. Sadly, it doesn't look like things are going to be going forward unless Take-Two decides to rescind this. But this is one of the things that I think I'll talk about in a separate video, but once you've kind of opened up Pandora's box when it comes to modding like this, you really can't put it back. Yeah, exactly. And this just seems like a very bullheaded move by Take-Two and Rockstar. Now, whether this actually was causing security leaks and all that, that unfortunately, I don't know. That remains to be seen. But this is definitely a bad move when it comes to trying to keep people interested in these games, especially like as a very interesting contrast that we were talking about the Creation Club from Bethesda and how they're trying to really keep the modding community not only vibrant but keep the quality as well. And with that said, that kind of difference really speaks to the different companies. Oh yeah, that's right, the BioShock remasters as well. Let me see. Yeah, I'm just making sure things are looking good on that end. Yeah, and the what El Gordo was talking about, or Oscar, we'll have to try and figure out what name to use for the future. But what he's saying in chat is that BioShock Remastered editions that were recently, or I'm sorry, released last year, was pretty much released with a lot of bugs, and it doesn't look like Take Two is going to be getting around to fixing them. I mean, they've kind of written it off. Speaking about Crash of the Future, I know it's a complete tangent, but I'm hearing some exciting things about the Crash Bandicoot HD remake that's going to be coming out soon. I definitely want to take a look at that one. Oh yeah, that's right, System Shock 2 remaster too. Sorry about that, I did get a drink in me there. Yeah, several months. And that's always a problem, especially when you're trying to make the definitive version of a game. I was trying to think of some other examples off the top of my head, but I had one and then I lost it. Yeah, the Insane Trilogy. So getting back to Take Two, again, we're still day one as of this stream slash video, so who knows if they will decide to change things. Yeah. Oh man, there's a massive thread on the Grand Theft Auto forums. Mm. And I'm sure a whole lot of people are going to be talking about this one. But yeah, it really does suck, especially when mods work so much to keep these games vibrant and alive. Especially if the developer just kind of lets it go. And I think that's what probably sucks the most. Is that Rockstar and Take Two were basically leaving this alone for the last almost decade. And at this point, you really can't stop things without yourself being seen as a colossal jerk. And like if this was done, week one or month one when it came out, it would be a different story. But when you're waiting 10 years to do it, it really doesn't look right on you. And it also raises the question, do you think Take Two is trying to use this as an excuse to put out their own modding tools? Maybe something that is, paid to use, or something that's, quote unquote, official for it. Yeah, I'm definitely going to adjust that the window because I think it's cutting off a little bit of the text, but I'll mess with that, I think, for the next stream. Again, this is the first one back, so still trying to get used to things. Now, in terms of games that I played this week, I've been starting to play the game Perception, which is the indie horror game where you're basically playing Daredevil, minus all the ninja powers. And it's kind of interesting. The whole game is done using like echolocation. So you like hit the ground, you see these sound reverberate out, and that creates an outline of the world. Yeah, exactly. Just seeing the chat about pay-to-use modding tools. Yeah, Bethesda is definitely going to be the key figure to look at, especially with the Creation Club and what it will mean going forward. I'm noticing the delay of the chat seems to be a little bit longer here, and I'm not sure. I don't think I can get that delay any shorter. No, enable live chat, block spam. I think I may just have to deal with that because I don't think I can get rid of it anymore. But when it comes to, or getting back to Perception, definitely going to be interested to see how people take it. It is very much in terms of the indie horror where you can't really react. You're basically going to be hiding and exploring. But the fact that everything is essentially dark to you without being able to use sound does give it an interesting touch. I also tried out the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 demo, the story demo, and it's very interesting. It's kind of weird with how they do it. Everyone seems to have the same command list for special moves. I think it's core circle forward, core circle back, and different punches. And then the square button is the universal combo starter like that. And it's definitely going to be, I think, more streamlined, but I just wonder if it's going to be in that weird place where it's so streamlined that people aren't going to spend the time to learn it, and professional players just aren't going to give it the time of day. Especially considering how popular what I've been seeing in terms of Injustice 2, which they also announced that Sub-Zero will now be a character in the game coming up. They are really doing a lot with ice in that game. Oh yeah, that's right. There's been a few games using echolocation. There was the recent game from Introversion, which I cannot remember off the top of my head right now. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I'm kind of interested to see again where they're going to go with this kind of design. Yeah, and that's true as well, Gordo. That the new fighting game to look out for really is going to be the Arc System DBZ one, because that looks very fascinating, and it looks like it's probably going to cause a few seizures as well. And if you guys haven't seen that, or know, Arc System is the developer behind Blaze Blue, one of the more technical, involved fighting games on the market. So that's going to be very curious to see, especially since I was watching footage of people do there was a fan made DBZ game that people were talking about a few weeks ago. Speaking of which, about fan made, it's very funny about how Nintendo has announced another Metroid after they took down the fan made game. And this is one of those weird cases where the fans are kind of trying to beat them to the punch, and yeah, Guilty Gear as well. And looks like Nintendo's going to be going forward with it. Now, with that said, there's not much really else going on this week. I did play that game Missile Cards earlier, and I spoke to the developer about on an upcoming podcast, which it was a lot of fun. We're going to try having back on for a live chat in the future. I'm just looking at some of the comments here on Twitter too, trying to multitask the best I can. But going for, I think, tonight's stream, I'm thinking about trying some more with Gwent. There is a very funny thing with Gwent this week when they did the patch about they restructured a lot of the cards. They gave full price or full refund for the cards. So I've been scrapping all the cards. So I had like 1,800 scrap, which is like enough to get 3 legendary cards. So it's kind of opened things up for getting a little bit crazier with the deck combos. And for those of you who missed it, I did a stream of Clockwork Empires, which I'll probably going to be posting tomorrow or today if you're watching this recorded. And what happened was this is a fan-made mod, or I'm sorry, fan-made patch to Clockwork Empires that is trying to keep the game going after sadly Gaslamp closed down. But because it's being made for free and there's no real like organization, it's anyone's guess as to when the next build is out. And even if there's still enough interest in continuing things further, sadly. But I'm really hoping, because again, Clockwork Empires was one of my most anticipated games. Also, it was discussed, or I think last week that I know we missed, that Phoenix Point did get its funding. So that is the next game from Julian Gollop, creator of the original XCOM. And it ended with $765,948. So congratulations to them, and I really, really hope this game turns out well. Let's see what we got here. So for those of you watching this, oh yeah, that's right too, El Gordo, we are finally coming up with the Crimson Court DLC for Darkest Dungeon. And you know what that means. That will certainly be some streaming and content here on the YouTube channel. Considering one of my most popular videos was the guide I made. So that and Neo, I guess people like watching me play the hard stuff. But yeah, I will certainly be streaming that. And I figure we may be getting back, or I think I may be starting one of these Zachtronics games now that I'm streaming here on YouTube. That just makes it a lot easier in terms of putting it together. because there's going to be either very little or a whole lot of content of me trying to figure out those puzzles. But I think we'll start that very soon. Yeah. I'm debating if I want to play in Radiant mode or keep it in the pure unadulterated challenge mode. For those of you watching this, whether it's live or recorded, what do you think? When I start my game again with the Crimson Cord, do you want to see it in Radiant or in normal? So it doesn't change the difficulty, then maybe we will do Radiant mode. But let me know what you think in the comments regarding that. Now let me see what we got here. I know it is a... from what I've heard, the court adds in a new area, a few new bosses, a new class, a new wandering enemy, and they're also going to be adding in new trinkets all around. So it is definitely going to be making it harder, but I don't think the Radiant mode is actually going to change. It's not going to make it easier to play, just going to make it quicker. And also we did Dead Cells, which I'm enjoying it, but again, if I play it too much, I am going to burn out of it, or very quickly. Let's see, anything else going on right now? Again, this is the crappy week for news and getting responses. Alright, yeah, so I think we'll do it on Radiant mode, just so we can speed through it, and so it doesn't become a, oh my goodness, like a good another 30-40 hours of trying to get to the end game. I'm just trying to see if there's any other news this week. So I guess here's a question for you guys, kind of to wrap things up, to start wrapping things up for this week. For those of you who attended E3, because this was one of the first times it was open to the public, what did you think of having that kind of public access? Because usually E3 is more or less the trade show for members of the industry and press. So I know they've been struggling to try to remain relevant there. Of course, speed through it if RNG lets you. Yeah, that's true. Oh, here's another little bit of nasty news. It's been reported, according to Gamma Sutra, that Konami makes it difficult for people who decide to leave the company, whether it's by blacklisting them or just using their influence in Japan to make life harder for them. That's another really great feather in their cap, especially after everything with Metal Gear Solid Pachinko and, you know, the inner turmoil regarding Kojima Productions or Foxhound. Or I'm sorry, Kojima Studios, when they were trying to make Metal Gear Solid 5. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah. Yeah, going back to what we were saying with E3. Yep, and that's what they were saying as well. Going back to E3 quickly, it is definitely a lot more in terms of that spectacle. And I know it's been a lot more exciting, especially with the Devolver and the and having presentations on Sunday. So I'm just wondering again, I haven't attended an E3 yet. So for those of you who have attended either past and present or just the present one, what do you think about it? Yes, and that's right. Destiny 2 is coming to the PC and is going to be a part of Battle.net. That's going to be very interesting because a lot of people were really wanting to try Destiny out in the first place. I know I did, but it was only console exclusive. And speaking about that kind of Destiny mindset, of course, BioWare formally announced Anthem. And again, I'm kind of wishy-washy on that, just because I haven't really been wowed by anything from BioWare before. But I am sure there's going to be a lot of people going to check that one out. Aw. I like The Division, but again, that comes with the caveat that I didn't play until 1.04. So even then, it was improved, but still not all that amazing. It also didn't hurt that I got the game for I think $10 off of Amazon. So that was how I was able to play it. I put in for a press copy of Injustice 2 because I would really like to check that one out. But with everyone at E3 this week, it's impossible to get any real update in terms of more content or more discussions. But I think we'll wrap things up for this week in a few minutes, just because, again, it is kind of weird just talking to myself for this entire time. I wonder if there is a way. I think I will look into YouTube if there's a way to speed things up just a little bit more in terms of that delay, because I think it is messing things up slightly. Hmm. Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting. I know Warframe is both console and PC. I know that's been going on for a while. So more competition is always good on that front. But I think I'm going to wrap it up just because there's not a lot of people in chat, so it's kind of weird, again, when it's just one person, which ideally next week that will be fixed. Also, before anyone asks, I know we were talking about having Josh on for another Patreon-funded Critical Thought. We ran into the double kiss of death of him being sick one week and then him being busy with E3. So ideally, with everyone coming back next week, we will have that chance to record the guest piece. Because again, that was a lot of fun, and it's something that I really want to do, especially with it being a Patreon reward. But I think I'm going to wrap it up here because I do have some streaming to do tonight. The podcast for this week, if I'm getting the timing right for it, I think this is going to be my chat with the lead designer of there it goes, of Voodoo Vince. We talked about platforming design and kind of how things have evolved over the years. So be sure to take a look at that coming up tomorrow. And like I said, I won't be posting the podcast over here, but maybe I'll make like a quick announcement video just to let you guys know that the podcast is up and you can take a listen to it over there. And for those of you who don't know, the Game Wisdom podcast is on iTunes as well, if you would like to take it from there. Now, one other thing that I was thinking about in terms of trying to get more notoriety or more interest in the Patreon was maybe having like a Patreon exclusive podcast or something along those lines. But I just don't want to make the good stuff be behind that paywall, because it kind of detracts from the whole point of it, was being able to have these conversations for everyone to enjoy. I don't want to say everyone can enjoy it, but there's a little asterisk saying you must spend at least $10 a month or $5 a month to watch it. But what do you guys think about having maybe like a special wrap-up podcast, like each month, strictly for the patrons? Again, it won't have any interviews in it, just because I want that to be for everyone, but kind of another way of providing some kind of personalized reward for people to enjoy. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But I think with that said, again, with just myself sitting here and chatting with you, I know this can start to whine or start to get a little bit boring. So I think we'll wrap things up for this episode of Game Wisdom Live. Again, this will be pretty much posted to YouTube right away. I'll have for tomorrow the recording from my Clockwork Empire stream. Time exclusivity for patrons on podcasts, and so maybe I'll think about doing something like that with maybe if I can get like a few more people at the $5 level, we can have that. Or I just make the video. I gotta think of how to do it exclusively. Well, I guess I can simply do it through Patreon and make the link private. Again, if someone wants to share it, I mean, it's no big deal on my end to share the list and stuff like that. But for those of you tuning in late or just for a quick wrap-up, again, starting next week, Robert Leach will be my co-host. If you would like to be a co-host for a Game Wisdom Live or for a podcast, wherever, definitely let me know. We're always looking for more people to talk to. I'll be making a formal announcement regarding the dates for my 5 presentations throughout September and October once things are a little bit more finalized. Probably closer to, I'm going to say I'll probably make a formal video for most likely in August, maybe late July, August, just so that you're not here waiting 2-3 months for that. But I'm going to wrap it up here. For those of you watching this over here on YouTube, let me know how you enjoy the format with things here versus on Twitch. And like I said, as always, if you are new, be sure to like and subscribe. Check back daily for more design discussions here and on Game Wisdom. Special snippets? Maybe. We'll have to see about getting that footage, though, because my phone is too crappy. But maybe if I have someone record it, maybe we can make that as like a special thing. Because right now there is one video up on YouTube right now of me talking. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll see what happens with that. And like I said, if you have any suggestions for goals or rewards for Patreon, please let me know in the comments, because I'm always trying to tweak things and make things better. Like I said at the start, from July on, the $100 goal will be basically for some kind of special reward, and that will change each month just to keep people interested and to give them a shot at voting for special things. And starting next week, of course, we'll do the Darkest Dungeon play. And I think I'll have a video on Perception. Again, because it is story-filled, I don't want to make a full Let's Play about it, because then I'm spoiling the game, and we don't want to do that. I guess for tonight, I can show off some missile cards, and then probably some Gwen. I think those two will probably take up the time. Let's see, I'm just trying to see the delay here. Just want to see it on the top of my thing. Yeah, it's about like a 10-second delay. That is a little bit annoying. I think I'm going to send YouTube a message about it just to see if there's anything else going on, or they can tweak things or something. But I'm going to wrap it up here. Like I said, be sure to come back probably in 30 minutes or so. I'll have the live play going here of either Gwent or missile cards, or probably both tonight. We'll see where the evening takes us. Hopefully everyone is coming back from E3 and we'll be able to get some more people on. But otherwise, thank you so much. Oh, my mouth is also drying up on me as well. But I'll see if YouTube can do anything about that. And I will catch you all up in a few minutes here on the stream for some gameplay footage. And of course, be sure to check back for more discussions daily. So, I'm going to end things here for tonight. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you all in a few minutes with that gameplay footage. Take care.